outside yourself and let your mind go. Frozen nights are deep in your mind as you die, buddy. Close your eyes and forget your name. Step outside yourself and let your fall drain. As you go insane, pal. Outside yourself and let your mind go. Frozen nights are deep in your mind as you die, buddy. Close your eyes and forget your name. Step outside yourself and let your fall drain. As you go insane, pal. Outside yourself and let your mind go. Frozen nights are deep in your mind as you die. Close your eyes and forget your name.
What's going on, everybody? How are you? I love what they do with the lead in this part. Do you guys hear that in the back? You know that riff where it's like they do the clean tones, the only like one of the two Slayer clean tones in the history of Slayer, where it's in Seasons where it's da 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 da, that part. And if you can't hear it in this, they actually do it in this way where it's like a banjo roll. So check that out. Actually, it's really, really interesting. If you didn't hear it in the back, let's try that again. Right here. Oh, nope. I'm gonna keep doing that. It's like my MP3 player. Okay, right here. Right behind this part. And then right here, they throw it in. Oh gosh. I love country music. I love old school country. I love bluegrass. I am not just a metalhead. I had one guy comment once. He's like, you probably should, he's like, if you're going to do demos, you should be more diverse, is what he said to me. Well, I would be more diverse, but when I do bass streams and clean streams and country streams and stuff, less people watch. Not that I really care, because I'm going to be adding that stuff anyways. Obviously, we get like 50 views per stream sometimes, most times. So yeah, it's not that big a deal. I'm not sitting here going over the algorithms like, what did I do? More views. Hopefully more people dig what we do over time. I've got the comments down here today, guys, because my phone is charging up. I have an announcement. I'm off the Cokes. I'm off the Coca-Colas, guys. It's like a stream tradition, a stream edition. But there'll be no more Cokes for a while. I'm 46 and I'm starting to get these weird like cancer vibes. Like I'm afraid of everything that is cancer, and I'm at 46. And so, not that Coke is proven to cause cancer, but let's be honest, like it's not gonna help you. When you're drinking a liquid daily that can technically be used to get battery acid off of concrete or cement, you might want to reconsider some things. I don't drink a lot of pop, but I like fizzy beverages. It's really strange. I like having a fizzy beverage around the house, but I don't want to drink Coke anymore. And if you're out there and you're on the Cokes, I've been on and off the Cokes, I call it, not the Coke. I've never done cocaine in my entire life, and I probably just got nuked there. by an algorithm of some sort. But yeah, I've never done that in my life. Never intend to. I'm not that kind of just the green stuff for this guy. And but yeah, the Coca-Cola is, man, it's so delicious. But then every once in a while, I come across this phase where I'm just like I can tell that I'm just not enjoying it. It's just a habitual sort of thing. Like, I want a Coke because I'm on a stream. No, I just need something fizzy. So today we're debuting. We're going to be doing some non-alcoholic Heineken today. And for those of you that, I mean, I've gone through the story before. It's not like I was an alcoholic, but I drank for many, many, many years on tour, living in party houses. Gosh, God, cat hair, get off me. That's the other problem. Cat hairs are really attracted to the mustache. They like to live in there. They fly. It's like a filter. It comes from a while away and just goes right in there. Sits around there and starts tickling my nose. Anyways, going back to it, I was a drinker for many years. No judgment to you. If you enjoy hammering beverages, that's more power to you. We all do it responsibly. That's all. You know, don't go getting into fights or many fights. That's such a hypocritical saying. Don't drink and get into fights. What did I do through my entire 20s? Don't do that shit. So anyways, I just decided one day it was no longer for me, as I had to start taking a certain medication that did not work well with alcohol at all. So I was taking myself, I cut it off literally cold turkey overnight, never drank again. We got two people. That story must have just shit everybody right back out the other end. Eddie, are you here? I'm not sure if Eddie's here or not. Eddie was supposed to be here. Anyways, how are you guys doing? What are we doing today? I'm enjoying a nice non-alcoholic Heineken, and man, they've non-alcoholic beverages have come a long way. It used to be there was just these like really crappy, terrible, generic flavored garbage, and I love the taste of beer still. So I've considered it like just going and buying myself a tall boy of beer. I'm not going to get hammered on a tall boy, but it was the principle of it, and that's the fact. And so I love that Heineken did a non-alcoholic beer. I've actually never tried it, so let's give her. Lovely. I don't know if you guys are green bottle beer fans, but I've always been a green bottle beer fan. And yes, it does make a difference. What are we doing today, guys? We are going over some Line 6 plugins that are all 50% off right now. This is not a paid stream by Line 6 by any means. But I saw that and I thought to myself, geez, you know, I just don't hear enough about Line 6 plugins. You go through and you never really see, because they don't put money towards people. They don't really do that sort of thing. It's not often that you see influencers using Line 6 stuff. It's because Line 6 just didn't. I'm not going to say they didn't market these plugins, but they didn't market these plugins. They didn't market these plugins at all. If you've never heard of these plugins, these three, first, I guarantee you've heard of Helix Native. Everyone's heard of Helix Native. And is it that good? Yes, it's fucking that good. It really is. I've been using these for a long time. I've been using this rather for a long time, and I'll tell you a little bit later in the stream where this is going to come in most handy for you in your collection. Yes, it's still even 50% off. It's still $200. And we're like, what? $200? Let's get into exactly why that makes a lot of sense a little bit later in the stream, okay? All right, now I'm also going to say that if you are to buy Helix, you absolutely 110% do not need the plugins that I'm about to show you, because all the stuff following plugins is inside Helix Native. Every single component, if I'm not mistaken, is all inside Helix Native. So you do not need these. However, if you would rather just have a little portion, a tiny, minuscule speck of what Helix Native has to offer for literally like not, I think it's these are like, what can someone tell me? Hey Pip, how are you, buddy? Pip is a member of our team here. Beloved Pip. Love you, buddy. Love everybody on this team is just such a wonderful person. We have all become quite close friends, and it is such a there's a really great harmony to our team and our group chat, and everything that we do is a really great harmony. I just feel like a member of the team. I'm not running anything, you know. It's just we're all together, just talking good stuff, and it's awesome. And I just absolutely love this team. Love being a part of it. Okay, so going back to it, these 3 plugins. So what they did is over at line 6, and I'm not. Yeah, you know what? I can remember having a conversation with someone at line 6 about, and actually putting it in my Honest Amp Sim Reviews review. There was a very clear, when I reviewed a Helix Native, and we had a blurb in there that said it would be really, really cool to have some of these in suites. And then I'm definitely 1000% not saying that it was like us that they stole this idea. No, it's not like that. What I'm saying is that we had that idea and then it happened, which is really cool. So these plugins are cool for those of you out there who maybe don't want to go and buy and don't need and don't require everything, all the giant haul that's inside Helix Native. Now, Doom is our first stop. This is line 6 Doom, and this is 4 amps, some pedals. This thing is really cool. Okay, and there's not a lot of gear out there. There is, as far as right now, there aren't any other Dooms. There's no other suite out there that is specifically, excuse me, gassy because of this little beer. There is no other suite out there that's just dedicated to Doom. And I hate to say it, but if you are a Doomer out there right now, there is a huge, giant wealth of Doom stuff under the hood of Helix Native. Maybe the largest collection of Doom stuff, plugins that you could be used for making some really great Doom under one roof. And this is fantastic. So everything in the following 3 plugins is already in Helix Native, but they also give it that modern suite style UI, which a lot of people are very partial to. And I get it. However, if you're an Axe-Fx user, then Helix Native should kind of just be your backyard. Or if you've ever wanted to work with something like that, it's also kind of sort of similar to the Quad Cortex thingamabob that they have. I don't know much about the Quad Cortex. Sorry, folks. That's hardware. I'm not a big hardware guy. Moving on. This is Doom. It's got a few amps. We're going to go over this plugin. We're going to go over line 6 Modern, which is badonk. Yeah, baby, the badonk right here in your face. There's also a licensed rev, which is cool. Licensed rev generator 120. That's pretty cool. That's also in there. We've got the PRS Archon. You've got the Invictus. The P, is that the amp? What the amp is called? No, it's not. It's the, oh gosh, what's friggin' Bulb's amp? The Misha Mansour amp. Can someone just tell me, what is it again? It's off the top of my head. I can't remember what it's called. It seems so silly. What is it? Oh, gosh. Dang it. It's in one ear and out the other. Gosh. Yeah, these are the Metallurgy plugins, by the way. You can get these all, I think you can get them separately, and I think you can get them in a 3-pack. So go and check that out. Everything is 50% off at line 6, and this is not a sponsored stream. I do thank you so much, by the way. They did grant these to us way back in the day for review, so thank you so much for that. But as far as it goes, yes, the Invective. The Invictus is an Innova disc that I throw. That was the only thing in my mind. I was like, it's the Invictus. I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, that's not it. Like, fuck, I can't remember. Somebody help me. All these amps. Has anyone out there actually tried an Invective? Has anybody ever tried one? I've never heard. I don't know one single person. I don't know one person that's even seen one in person. I don't know how much they are. Can you even buy them anymore? I don't know. PV is such a weird company. Last one, we've got, that was Modern, by the way. It's got some sweet stuff in there. And then we've got Thrash, which is, gives you, for whatever reason, they included this Roland. Pardon me. That's the one thing about beer, folks. It's gonna be burpy up in here. I'll do my best to nuke it before I burp, but it is what it is. We've got the Kali, and this is a one of the Mesa Mark Series amps, and pretty cool. It's obviously not as involved. There is this is a very stripped down version of the Mark Series amp, and you've got a Friedman, which kind of looks green. I mean, I get what they were trying to do by changing the colors and just to avoid like likeness rights, but I don't know. You didn't really have to. These days, you can kind of make it look identical, and as long as you're not using that actual Freedman badge, it doesn't really matter. Anyways, moving on. Then we have a diesel. Yeah, I think this is is this the VH4 or is this the Herbert? I can't remember what this was supposed to be. Oh, dang. I think it may be the Herbert, but the knobs look more like the VH4. I don't know. I should have looked this up before I came on. Anyways, we're gonna get started with the Metallurgy series, but while we go through it, before I start playing guitar, a lot of people ask why, a lot of people say, well, it's just too expensive. $200, even $300, $400 regular price. It's just too much money for one plugin. Okay, I can see how you might think that. But then on the other side of things, you have to look at the quality and quantity at times. I almost never suggest you look at the quantity of components under the hood, especially in something like a positive grid bias effects. In that situation, you're getting a whole lot of empty shells. In this big ass component count, we have 10,000 components, and they're all giving you about 1% realism in the sound while trying to jazz it up and make it look like the real thing, sort of. And in that case, it's just a lot of empty shells. One thing you're not going to get with Helix Native is empty shells. You're not getting the empty shell syndrome of the component count. It is a giant component count, yes, no empty shells. Not one single no shortcuts, no bullshit. All of this stuff is modeled well, it sounds good, and it's just awesome and fun to use. Now, the one thing a lot of people don't like is the UI. The UI is just too, it's just too alien. They like the sweet style thing where they can turn the knobs, and they've got the 3D cab loader. Oh, you gotta have the 3D cab loader. But in this case, you don't really need it because, I mean, they do, I think the new cabinet actually does a 3D thing, which is fine. We're not going to get a lot into Helix Native. I'm more so going to go over the Metallurgy stuff today, but we're going to get into this a little bit. You could also import IRs, use them in your in their loader. I think that the amount of IRs that you can import into the plugin is maybe a little small, but it is what it is. This is what I call my starter preset, and this is basically just there. This is awesome. It's just easily laid out where you can add and subtract things in a pretty simple signal chain and left to right. It's going to look very similar to the way that you're going to use it in reality. And also you can start making like stereo chains and all kinds of stuff that it gets very involved. If that's not your thing, well, then we're going to get started with what might be your thing with the Doom plugin. If you're looking for Doom, this thing has some awesome stuff under the hood. Now you've got access to some really, really fun pedals here. The only hyperfuzz that I know about that is in a plugin. I don't know of another hyperfuzz that's out there that's in a plugin. And I think I've got enough juice here now. I'm going to put this up so I can actually see it because I keep forgetting to look at it. And it's annoying. All right, here we go. See you later, Pip. See you later, buddy. I feel like screaming at the lottery numbers. Nice. So you have used one. That's pretty cool. So that's awesome. I've never had a chance to use one. Apart from like the NAMM footage and some other footage, I've never really seen one. So, okay, we've got the Sun. I think this is a Sun Model T, or is that what they call this amp? And we're going to just start with just the amp. I've got my trusty Iceman here today. That I do love this guitar, but the reason I'm using it today is because we might go between like various types of heavy, which this thing is kind of built to do multiple types of heavy as opposed to just being able to do like modern. That being the pickups in it can kind of handle a little bit of A and B. All right. So in this one, you've got the Sun, you've got the Orange, you've got the Line 6 Doom, And then you've got the mail order twin, which is, what is it, Harmony amp? I can't remember this. It was like the amp that you used to be able to get with the Sears catalog way back in the day. The name slips my mind. And it's not a Fender. Was it a Harmony or was it a Supro? I can't remember. I don't know. Let's crank this up a tiny bit more. That sounds a little bit better. If it's ever too low, by the way, guys, it sounds a bit different to me than it does for you guys. So if the guitar volume isn't quite enough, let me know. All right, so we're going to get into a bit of this sounds pretty good to start. So we're going to get into that, into the pedal. I like the UI. I really do like the UIs that they've thrown in here. They're simple, they're effective, they're super easy to use. That sounds so good. Really, really good. Fuzz too. You're like, oh, who would ever like that? You're like, oh, well, it really depends on your taste, but that is actually a really good guitar tone in the Doom world. Or now, of course, this is Smashing Pumpkins. I'm not sure if you know that song or not, but maybe you do. But I mean, I can understand why this stream is probably not going to be overly well attended or even viewed in the future. But I really hope the few people that do watch it. The reason I say that is because Line 6, for whatever reason, it's insane to me. Line 6 insane. Get it? If you know, you know. It's quite interesting that really there's this weird perception about these plugins. I feel that maybe people don't understand that Line 6 has been doing the modeling thing for about 25 years, longer than a lot of the companies that are in existence making amp sims right now. These guys did modeling before plugins were, well, I guess the plugins were just starting to come into their infancy at around the time the Pod 2.0 came out, actually. Because I remember buying one and recording a lot with it with Cool Edit. That was my first my first home recording rig, was simply Cool Edit with my Line 6 Pod 2.0 and later the Behringer bass V amp. That was my home recording rig. And not only did it sound pretty decent, but I mean I was recording all my friends in the basement with a very simple setup. It was just two pods, Cool Edit, and a really haggard like sound card scenario that we were like snaking things into. It was a super MacGyver, very DIY, but it sounded okay. And where am I going with this? Well, okay, like when I remember getting the Pod 2.0 and bringing it to a friend of mine's house, and he's an old school amp nerd. And we hooked it up to, and he grabbed these headphones from his studio and he starts playing and he starts turning the knobs and stuff and telling me, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Give me a Fender. Get me a Mesa. Ooh, what else can you get me on there? Can you get me this cabinet? That cabinet? Change this for me. And I'm doing all this stuff for him and I could see it just blowing his fucking mind because of how realistic it sounded at the time. And it still to this day sounds pretty good. So the modeling was that good. I mean, geez, I was 20 years old when that thing came out, I think. Around 21 maybe? Tops. When the Pod 2.0 came out. That is a long fucking time, man. So they've been doing it a long time. Their modeling is very good. Very, very good. And they've got such a wealth of gear under the hood of Line 6 Helix Native. And not only that, but if you buy it, they give you more shit for free every year. They add new amps, new pedals, new cabinets, new features, overhaul certain features, make things better, worse, and not worse. You get it. They listen to their community as well. And it's great. Hop on the Line 6 forum and you see that, like, you'll see what, the community is kind of getting together, trying to push, the company to do. But they actually listen. If enough people request a feature and they see a really good reason to add it, they do. And that's one of the coolest things about that company. Also very nice to deal with. So yeah, Cool Edit was the best, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm not sure how long we're going to be on here today, guys, but let's jam a little bit more on this. I'm going to go over to this. I can't remember what this plug-in, I really should have gone and looked this up because I actually did know at one point, but this pedal's pretty fun too. Oh, that is just fantastic. If you don't like, if you don't like dig doom tones, that's cool. Because we're going to be moving along we're going to be bouncing around. So now you understand what this one can bring to the table. This one sounds really, really good. It does. It just sounds awesome. And actually, we're going to stick with this for a minute. I'm just going to go over a few of the different amps. Oh, great riff. Well, great riff. Hold on. You'll hear me play this from time to time, too. Great riff. Great riff. Oh, we got to do this. Come on, guys. Oh, I've seen this. I got to see this riff every night for a little bit, actually. Oh, fantastic. That riff is so cool. To take a little offshoot here, that riff is so fun that I actually remember where I was, how old I was when I heard that riff. I was laying on a couch in a party house that I was living in. The CD was delivered. The CD was delivered. I can't recall the album, the label anymore. But the CD with the CD was delivered. I came with the mail. We used to run a little review magazine, my friends and I, and we used to get free CDs to do reviews and stuff. And I remember putting that album on when I was hungover sleeping on the couch, and I was just putting it on while I was laying there. And I remember that riff came on, and I woke up everybody in the house, all of my roommates, to be like, "You need to hear this riff now!" And they were all actually pretty stoked about it. So let's move on to the orange. Flexi. Okay, that was weird. Wow, that sounded pretty fucking good there. Holy smokes. Wow. That is just evil sounding. And if you're in the chat, say hi. I will not bite. I'm not the coolest person in the world, but I'm not the least cool either. Does the mustache make me less cool? No. It was the opposite effect. You want the Doom? Let's go. You want the Doom? Let's go with the Doom. This amp, I've never really been convinced that this amp was really going to be that amazing, though, although it is actually kind of good for other things. I mean, it is good for Doom, too. No, sorry, it was Badonk. That was not good for Doom. All right, so let's we have 3 fuzzes here. Fuzzes. Let's check out the big horn. I'm gonna tune. Tell me in the comments, what do you guys have planned for your weekend? That's the icebreaker here. What are you guys up to this weekend? What plugins are you using currently? I want to know, what plugins are you guys gassing over? And when I say gassing, gear acquisition syndrome, what plugins are you like, I need it now? Oh my God! Black Friday sales! Everybody, Black Friday sales everywhere. They are coming. They're coming for you. Cyber Monday also coming for you, brother. Woo! Exciting. If you got a few extra bucks to spare before the holidays, because who actually has that? Fucking nobody. But if you do, or you're just the type of person that doesn't have to buy for a lot of people and you want to buy for just yourself, do that. And get something cool, because there are a lot of companies out there doing sales, and this is one of those companies doing sales. Gosh, I really wish somebody would put out a really good signature plugin this year. I really wish that an artist that had been really deserving of a plugin for a really long time would get a plugin this year at some point. It'd be interesting if it was a band that had a really good guitar player. That it was a really good guitar player that could play really well. Yeah, I wonder if anybody knows that of an artist like that may be getting their own plugin this year. I have no idea. Maybe more of a death metal guitar player that kind of shreds. That'd be cool if we could have more of those that could exist this year coming out. Probably in the next couple of months. I mean, I don't know. You guys let me know. What are you guys thinking? Anyways. Bighorn sounds great too. Yeah. Man, it's a tough room today, guys. Tough fucking room in here today. Hope you guys are having a great day, though. Let me know what you guys are up to. We're just chilling out today. That is going to be all for the Doom plugin. We'll get to the cab and show you guys what else they have in the cab. This is what the cab section looks like. They're designed pretty well, actually. Everything in the back end here is really handy. They have a kind of a, yeah, I mean, it's like it's still a 3D cab kind of thing. And you might be thinking, like, why is the cabinet on that weird angle? Well, I think it just shows depth better. The ones that are straight on don't always show depth really well, apart from the mic getting bigger and smaller. And I mean, that isn't always a good indication. Then again, I really don't feel most people messing around with 3D cab sections anyway. The reason I say this is because if you yourself haven't put physically, if you've never actually taken a microphone and put it on a cabinet with the intention of recording that cabinet, you don't really know what you're doing. I've done a lot of that in my life, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even like doing it because I'm not that good at it. I'm okay at it, but getting the pristine, perfect positions, that is kind of a thing that, in my opinion, is sort of left up to the professionals. And now, you know who the professionals are? Professionals are the wonderful people making IRs. And so when a plugin developer gives you just a nice selection of IRs that were shot in the absolute, the most common, or even the proven most common and best positions for those mics on certain speakers and cabinets, providing those to you is always a nice idea. And that way, you're getting really, it's perfect. Your mic placement is perfect. That is a way. It's funny because if you've never done it, it's really easy to fuck it up. It's really easy to fuck up. And if you've never done it, then you're not really sure if sure, you could just go by ear and what sounds best. That's fine too. But in my opinion, I call it pin the tail on the donkey. When you're using the 3D mic placement, it's pin the tail on the donkey. Where am I going to go with this? Instead, why don't you just lean on somebody that is literally their job is to know the best positions for microphones. They shoot the best positions. Like Nolly, for example, when that dude shoots an IR pack, the guy shoots the best position. He uses a nice little robot. Everything works out pretty good. But then you also have to look into, guys, I'll be honest with you, the 3D cab sections are also, they add resources. They add many resources to the plugin in the needs section. Okay. And on top of that, the way they're made is essentially if you lay a grid of really small squares over a speaker, they insert an IR file into each one of those squares. So when you're scrolling over it, you're actually just accessing that IR file that's been loaded into the matrix. The 3D matrix, the cube, we'll call it, it's been inserted somewhere into this cube, and then you're accessing it by dragging and pinning the tail on the donkey. So in the case of this, I like the way that they've done that angle, and they're showing you the depth a little bit better, and they're showing you the distance nicely. That can be a real big deal when it comes to distance or where to put that. So try to think of that like that next time you're complaining about a 3D cab section. Can you do it in person? Have you ever done it in person? It really like hands-on with a real mic. If not, it's not that big a deal. All right, so let's keep going. The other cabinets available here, if you look into this nice thing here, they've included some nice cabs. You've got two 212s. You've got a for whatever reason, put a rectifier cab in here. I guess I don't know if those sound good for Doom. I've never even seen a piece of Mesa Boogie gear in any Doom ever. It's one gear brand you just never see a Doom band using for whatever reason. Don't know why. Then you've got Marshalls and the Sun cabinet, of course. The 412 Blackback 30. Not sure what that is, but also it's in here if you want to hammer on that. Here it is. But we're going to move on to some more chuggier and more metal tones. This thing is awesome, though. So if you're looking out there and you're just getting into Doom, or maybe you're a Doom musician and you're like, I don't want to wake up the entire universe every time I play the guitar, but I still want that filthy vibe in my ears, you know? Like, I don't want to sit and play on my electric guitar, my acoustic guitar, unplugged, whatever. I want real Doom sound when I'm writing or making a demo for my drummer. so that he can learn some of the stuff, whatever it is that if you're an analog loyal person, you don't need to be analog loyal. You got to get shit done. We're living in apartments, most of us, right? A lot of us are living in small apartments, let's be honest. And if you're in a small apartment, you're not firing up your rig. If you got kids, you're not firing up your rig every time you want to play guitar. If you've got, you know what I mean? So in this particular situation, I would go ahead and buy the Line 6 Doom plugin, install it, get yourself, and if you're an analog head and you're out there, just get yourself a really simple interface that you can just plug right into your computer. These are not huge on needs, not really that huge on needs, so this one should work pretty seamlessly for you. And then you should be able to just record, you'll be able to record some, some demo tracks and stuff like that. Grab a cheap drum sampler, and that way you can lay down some beats as well when you're putting stuff together. Do you have to use that as your album? Fuck no. You don't have to let anybody fucking hear it. It's for you. It's for you to practice to. Or maybe you're writing lyrics and you want to actually sound, you know what I mean? There's so many different applications for having a plugin. So if you're a doomer out there and you're an analog loyal, or if you know one of those guys, I'm telling you, get yourself this plugin or something like it, or even you could do it for free. If you don't want to pay a single dollar, I can show you how to get sick doom tones for free, for fucking nothing. Free doom pedal from Nembrini, free amp from Audiority L12X. Boom, you're done. It's all over. Okay, so we're gonna get past this. See you later. This plugin is pretty fun. I do enjoy it. Now, I don't feel like listening to ska right now. Now, we're going to move on to some heavier tones. We're going to go with Line 6 fucking modern. Fantastic. Now, this is, this is what we're looking at here. Interesting. The minute they put a centaur in it. Huh. That's a very interesting choice. And there's a compressor out front. That's pretty cool. Rochester comp. Is that supposed to be a Keeley? Not sure. They put a... I remember this plugin looking different last time, and I just did the updates for it, so maybe there's... I don't know. The caliper drive, if I'm not mistaken, is the precision drive. So let's get into it. Amps, we've got the Invective. The archetype is the PRS Archon. Licensed rev generator, which is pretty fucking cool if you ask me. Let's get into that first, probably. The Vitriol, of course, is the Invective. And then my personal favorite, the in-house god himself, the Line 6 Badonk. Now, there's one cool thing about Helix Native is that they have it loaded with their own creations. They make their own in-house amps all the time, just like Nembrini did with the Crunk, for example. That's a good example. They do this in-house as well. And I was actually talking to one of their coders, one of their project people, Ben, and he was telling me that this is some of the most fun they have with what they do in-house. And so Line 6 Badonk, this is also, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but anybody out there, if you're listening, ever watching any Dean Lamb and his wife there, claim they're always doing some fun stuff over on Dean's YouTube. If I'm not mistaken, Line 6 Badonk is what Dean uses for his tone during all streams. I once upon a time talked to Dean and Klein about different plugins, and if they'd like to try some stuff from random companies, I actually sent them over for some. But they actually, at the end of it, were just like, man, the Helix Native's working for us really good. Or their Helixes, rather, not Helix Native. They're using just Helix units, and that's it. So Badonk, I think, is his go-to. So let's start with the Badonk, actually, and go right to left instead. We're going to start without the pedal. And for cabinets, they've given us a nice little selection here. It's pretty cool. We're going to go with the Mesa cab for now. Oh, neat. I actually didn't know it did that until just now. Fantastic. So if you click and hold, you get that. You can actually see the speakers for those that, where are the speakers? I don't know where I'm putting the mic. That's pretty cool. I like that. Still get to see the grill though. All right, let's see what we got. All right. Even not boosted, that still sounds pretty crushing. All right, cool. Let's throw the caliper drive in here. I've never been a fan of the precision drive in its analog form, so I'll be honest with you guys on that one. And I think we've talked about this in the stream before, where I've just never really been a fan of the precision drive. I bought one early on and spent a lot of money on it. Just really never really liked the sound of it. I sold it and bought a Proton Dead Horse, and I used that for a while. I eventually settled on what ended up being my favorite overdrive, or my favorite screamer type pedal ever, was the Way Huge Green Rhino. I've talked to a few developers about making a Way Huge Green Rhino, and so far it's been, well, nobody knows that pedal, so it's not high on anyone's list. If you're out there, though, and you make a Way Huge Green Rhino plugin, I will help you market the shit out of that motherfucker. Yeah. My picking is slopperific and sloppy as fuck today. What are you gonna do? I don't get enough time to play. Most of my chances to play guitar while I'm in here with you guys, and I'm not really practicing in here because nobody wants to hear awful notes. My review on this Heineken non-alcoholic beer, though, for anybody that cares, which is no one, it's like a good solid 8.5 out of 10, though. So far, my favorite has been these products from a company called The Sober Carpenter. Man, they make just some incredible. Go check them out. They're Canadian, though, so if you're not Canadian, you probably won't want to check it out. 9 people in here. Wow. King of the Castle. Thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Tyler, and this is the Amp Sim Show, episode 48. We've done 48 of these things. Pretty cool. We're almost at 50, and at 50, we're doing a giveaway. I get a lot of developers actually offering stuff for giveaways, but it's really a pain in the butt to take care of a giveaway sometimes, especially if there's a lot of stuff that's got to get given away, because then you've got to put aside a few hours to kind of do the go-between stuff and deliver things and stuff like that too. I usually don't expect the developers to deliver the prizes for me, although they're nice enough to do that sometimes, which is great. So, all right. I am in severe disbelief that this Minotaur was in here last time I this plugin. I also want to say the amp selection changed, but I don't think it did. All right, let's go to the which is the PRS Archon. I don't like that. Let's try that again. No, not really. That's a very interesting call for the modern plugin to throw a centaur in there. What? Are people really using centaurs? Can somebody look at, like, go into one of the Junti forums and find out if, like, the Genty kids are using the centaur? Like, no, there's no way they're actually using centaurs. Are they using centaur clones for Gent now? I'm not saying that in a, like sarcastic way, but is that seriously what's happening? Because it's a very odd inclusion for the for this metallurgy. I don't remember this being in here. I really don't. Very interesting. The last time I tried this, I really don't recall it being in here. So I don't know. Anyways, let's keep going. What I will say is that they've done it really well. See, the thing is, I've never really dug it with a high gain amp, but I think we're going to have to give it a good college try today. Oh my gosh. You want to, once again, every time this comes on, I've got to challenge all the shred heads out there. You want to impress me? Instead of doing, you know, more sweeps at, you know, 340 BPM, play this riff for me. Do it. Oh gosh. That's Johnny Highland with the Barnyard Breakdown. Whoop woo. That guy can play his ass off. Go check out a clip on YouTube. Search bar right here and then come back. Go check out Johnny Highland. Just search Johnny Highland Rob Chapman. Okay? And he's trying out this Chapman guitar for Rob Chapman just backstage at some, maybe NAMM or some guitar expo or something. And he hands him this Telecaster and he just rips the ever-living fucking shit right out of this guitar. This guitar literally starched it for everything it was worth. No, he's not breaking it. He's just go look up the clip. Go up there. Rob Chapman, Johnny Highland. Hilandland. Go check it out. It's just absurd. And he's looking at Rob Chapman. And Rob Chapman, like him, love him, hate him, whatever. I don't give a fuck. He makes cool guitars. He's a really good player. And Johnny Highland was playing in front of him. And Rob was literally just, his jaw was hanging somewhere down around his belt. And he was drooling. He couldn't believe what he was looking at. The only country player that was ever on Shrapnel Records. And if you don't know what Shrapnel Records is/was, you're not a serious shredder. Never have been, never was, and you probably never will be. Okay? If you've never heard of Shrapnel, go look it up. Yeah, you're right, man. It does actually rip, so I can see it. It took me by surprise. I hadn't really seen this before. Ooh, that rips actually. Yeah, it's so that really is that modern. Want some more heads? That actually sounds pretty good though, doesn't it? It sounds really good. If you're a more of a modern player, yeah. Wow. Can I get sloppier? Woo! Woo! This sounds really good. Now we're getting somewhere. They call it cooking with gasoline. Big fight night. Big fight weekend. Woo! You're like, holy shit, is he going to talk about more stuff that isn't guitar? You're goddamn right I am. I don't really want to listen to whatever this is right now. Give me something good. Come on. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Give me some thrash. Weep. If you're a fight fan this weekend, you're going to get... if you're a fight fan this weekend, you are going to get a clown show, and you're going to get a terrific MMA on Saturday. Tonight is the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, and Jake Paul is one of the most embarrassing human beings in the history of human beings. He's got to pay people to lose while he outweighs them by 50 pounds and just literally makes people stand there. You want this money? You want my YouTube money? You got to stand there and let me beat the shit out of you. And that's literally what happens. He just goes and gets guys with names and pays them money so he can beat the shit out of them and feel like a tough guy. He was probably the fucking kid that used to throw his friends out of the house whenever they would beat him at a video game, you know, smash the controller and kick everybody out of the house, and then make his mom, make me some grilled cheese right now. So anyways, he's about to pay Mike Tyson to probably fall down or something. This is gonna be stupid, but I'm gonna watch it anyway because I'm a sadist. Not really, I'm just kidding. Another algorithm right there, sadist. And then Saturday, I am really, really, really hoping to watch John Jones get his ass beat on Saturday night. So if you guys are fight fans at all, you're welcome to talk about that in the comments too. Just the only thing we bar in here is, apart from common sense topics like gross shit, go ahead and talk about most things, but just don't talk about politics. Don't talk about anything that's gonna get our channel nuked. Be cool, you know? Oh, there's a riff. Anybody know that riff? I gotta turn that down a little bit. I'm contending. Don't contend. Siberian meat grinder, though. I don't think anybody's gonna guess that riff. You can guess that riff. Holler at me. Nice. Tonight is definitely circus time. I would love it more than anything if I would love it. I swear on no, I'm not going to swear on anything. But do I ever really, really want to see Mike Tyson go off script and say, fuck this guy. I'm going to beat his ass. I'm going to knock his head into the next fucking universe and let him sue me. Let him sue me and give me nothing because I'm Mike fucking Tyson and I've got shit tons of money. And if I knock this guy out and go off script and knock his ass out, then you know what's going to happen? He's just going to make more money. He's just going to get lots of great publicity off it. It's going to all pay for itself. The legal bills will go away. Mike is never going to watch this stream, but if you're out there, buddy, my hope is, buddy, come on. Knock him out. Go off script. Don't let this stupid little punk knock you out. Come on. Nobody wants like that. That's so dumb. Anyways, that's my theory on and then, you know, then you got his brother, the crypto criminal. But that's a whole other story we're not going to get into today. This sounds great. And if you have never used PRS Archon, this is one amp I actually have used. I used the original and I used the newer import version. I think this is based on the import, but I can't be entirely sure. Now, the cool thing about the PRS Archon is it actually has a licensed plugin. Is there somebody out there in plugin land that's watching right now that ever used the Waves PRS Supermodels pack? You guys remember that pack? It came out a long time ago. Don't know who built it, although I kind of feel like it was either maybe Line 6 built it for them or somebody else built it for them. I don't think Waves did it in-house. I think there was somebody else. They sent it out to somebody else because they do have a lot of different people they contract for their plugging and their coding and their programming. I wondered who did it. I've also maybe thought that it could have been, maybe kind of sort of could have been, there's a few companies, Kuasa, there's a couple other companies, because some of the settings on it, they had like the SAG feature, and there's only a couple companies that use that SAG feature, and that's Line 6 and Kuasa that I know off the top of my head. So interesting tinfoil hat moments there. But if you've ever used that pack, they really weren't that bad. The cabinet sections were not very good, but if you bypass the cabinet section and use your own IRs, it was pretty manageable, and they weren't bad. There's a bright switch too. Oh, it's just for the clean. Meh, whatever. All right, let's move on. Rev generator. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that's really. That's not enough drive. Let's jack this up a bit. That sounds really good, guys. Holy smokes. All right. That sounds good. Really good. Yeah. So if you're into like the modern genty type stuff, and this is going to be your for sure. 10 people in here. Guys, let's get the chat. Let's get the chat going. Let's go. It's fucking Friday. I couldn't be happier to be here. My mustache is still here, and I'm still excited about this mustache. You might be thinking, why does this guy not stop talking about his mustache? Well, you see, in my 30s, I gave up on trying to grow a mustache. I literally wrote a song called Fuck Movember because I can't grow a mustache. It was a joke song. It's just teasing. It was more or less making fun of my lack of manlyhood than anything else. I would never make fun of Movember. But then my brother antagonized me. Around middle of October, my brother antagonizes me and says, hey, your beard is looking a little Amish. Not that there's anything wrong with the Amish folks. They're never going to see this anyways, obviously. That was a joke, sort of. So basically, he antagonized me enough that I'm like, you know I'm your older brother, right? And he says, yeah, but you can't mustache. I said, well, let's see about that. And apparently it happened. So I'm still very excited that I finally, at 46 years old, finally got my man card. It's fantastic. So many mids. Bring back those mids and let's just see if we can sizzle something else up. Holy shit. Holy fuck. That tone is so good. Oh, hugely. Huge. I love this tone. Let's change some mics around. Why not? So I give you a nice selection of mics, as you can see here. And I'm just kind of monkey around with these mics just a little bit. Okay, so we got this going. We're gonna use the 57, and then for this one, no, what have I done now? I don't want the angle. Please leave me alone. Why are you doing this? How did I get the angle on that? Oh, did I pick the angled mic? Either way, okay, let's change the mic up here. I think, no, I didn't. I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's use that anyways. Okay, now how do we get the angle off this bad boy? I can't even tell. Oh, here we go. There's a 45 switch right there. Boom. Okay, we got it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is... All right, let's try that. Holy smokes. That's room in. I've already got a room verb going on my own. I don't need 2 room verbs. That'll just get bliss. So yeah, so far so good here. I think this sounds sounding really nice. I don't know, but you guys... Yeah, man, the Minotaur in here actually does have a pretty good vibe going. Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate that. I was also running 2 boosts at the same time there, trying to do this like bit of a stacky thing. So let's turn that off. If that's something they're doing a lot, and it's always been kind of a thing in Gent, is by using like some compression, a lot of gate, obviously, and they stack overdrives. The more, the better when it comes to Gent, and the more mids, the better as well. Oh, so if you guys aren't familiar, this is the Line 6 Modern, and I like it. It's never been bad. Let's see what we got here now. See, that to me doesn't make a whole bunch of sense, but we're gonna go with it. You know what? I'm just going to go with the settings I would go with if I was actually sitting in front of this amp. We're going to go with all 7s, baby. I also think it would have been kind of just smart to throw your average... like just your average Maxon 808 in here would have been a good idea too, because I mean, let's be honest, which modern guitar player doesn't like a Maxon 808 or an 808X? I mean, that'd be a nice idea, but I'm not a whole bunch interested in the compressor, guys. I know that compressors are a part of like the Gent thing, but when you're using an amp that is incredibly compressed as it is, there are some redundancies when it comes to Gent and decisions. I think like when you're stacking overdrives, then you're creating the brightness of the sun, and in a lot of cases, you're creating frequencies that are going to be creating harsh frequencies that are going to need to get stripped out later. I think in post. I don't know. That's just not my style of guitar. Although I'm willing to, I understand what they're after. I understand they're using 8 strings and 9 strings and stuff, and really, really low tuned instruments that are going to need that level of mids to really cut. And then of course you have the bass that cannot really play to the same octave, the low octave of the guitar. So the bass is usually really, really like handling the low end, but handling kind of the same notes as the guitar, which is just bananas to me. But I mean, I've never understood it. To me, heavy comes from a bass that can play in a lower range, that lower register, the same notes as the guitar, not the same exact notes, but the root notes. You want the bass to handle the lower octave. That's what creates the heavy. And I mean, I can get as low as A flat while still getting a bass to accompany, but beyond like tuning to A, that bass starts to get awful tough to hear, and you start needing subwoofers and things of that sort to really hear the bass. And we're into a style of production that I don't really like. So, we're going to talk about it. All right, guys. So we are at 5:13 right now. I am going to take a 3-minute break. I'm going to come back to you guys with a different guitar, and we're going to go over line 6 thrash. Okay, we're going to crush this. This is goodbye. And I'm going to be in here for about another half hour or so. I'm going to come back and we're going to go play some thrash with this right here. All right, guys. So, in about 3 minutes. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And for being here, listening to me talk about plugins, random shit. It's always great to have you guys. In the next bit, please do feel free to reach out with questions, comments, suggestions. What are your opinions on these plugins? Let me know. Have you tried them? Have you gotten the free trials? Have you checked them out? Did you hate them? Did you love them? Are you going to go check them out right now because you saw me using them? Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Have I interested you in these plugins at all? I'm curious because these plugins to me, when they came out, I was pretty excited about them, even though I already had all the gear that they were showcasing in Helix Native. I was still pretty excited about when these came out because I really thought, this is exactly what Line 6 needs to continue, to get more, to bring in, more of a gateway kind of thing. Come see us. We've got some good stuff, but I'm not sure what the effect was. I don't know there was a lot of marketing behind these plugins or not. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Thanks so much for being here. Man, it's awesome to come back and have my own song playing. This is me singing. It's kind of fun. Sometimes I catch it. This is me singing, all me playing everything except for the drums. And half the solos are my friend Dan. You guys want to check it out? It's called Skullverizer. And you guys can check it out. It's on Spotify. It's a really old album. All freeware, actually. On the guitars. All the guitars are freeware. It's a really old album. I only put it on Spotify a little while ago. But it's probably... The album is now 11 years old. 12 years old. All right. Let's get back to it. Wow, no comments at all. Man, this is a slow fucking day, boys. You guys are killing me. You guys are killing me today. Come on, guys. Let's liven up the Friday. And if you've never heard Electric Wizard, I have beef with this song. Can someone explain this to me? Hang on a sec. If you've heard Dope Throne before, can you tell me why someone in the room didn't hear the drummer come in a pinch late and want to just redo it? Like, listen. Why is this? Why can we not talk about why we didn't start over here? Like, the guitar tone's filthy. But listen when the drummer comes in. I'm not critiquing this song. It's one of the best ever made. But listen. He comes in late. Stop right there. You're already ahead. You're already ahead. You're like, stop. Just restart. You're only like 10 seconds down on the tape. Because I know they use tape. I wanted to talk to Juice Osborne. Juice Osborne. I wanted to talk to him about tone. And I got into a tiny conversation about plugins with him, and he just wasn't hearing any of it. He's just like, that's all snake oil types, not snake oil, but he's just like, nah, kind of thing. And I'm not really interested, man. And that's okay. Not everybody. This was also 8 years ago. So maybe he's come some since then. But let's get into some thrash. This is Metallurgy, Line 6 Metallurgy Thrash in the series. Now, this is a pedal I would have expected. I would kind of sort of would have expected to see the Earthquaker plumes in the modern plugin. But we have it here in the thrash plugin, and that's great. I'm going to use that cell set up the way I like it. However, the Boss Yellow Overdrive is something that, yeah, we do see a lot in the thrash metal realm. And then for amps, I'm not really going to touch too much on the Roland here, but you know it's there. Not a lot of clean tone in thrash. If you're gonna use clean tone, would you guys argue there's more clean tone in modern metal or more clean tone in thrash? That's interesting. Discuss in the comments if you guys feel like chatting. It did this the other day too. Hang on a sec, guys. I have to reset something here. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, we're going to see what we got here. See what we can do. That sounds terrific too. Oh, it does. It does. Sounds good, sounds good, sounds good. By the way, if you've never seen any of our streams before, what do we do here? Well, we like to just use plugins, talk about plugins, amongst other things. We occasionally discuss video games and, of course, fights. Earlier today, we brought that up. Feel free to talk about, but most things. But what we usually talk about things here is amp sims and all the things that are related around it. Drum software, pickups, guitars, basses, anything that sort of is directly used with amp sims often. So we talk about all of it here. And if you guys, minus computers, we do discuss computers here, but if you're asking me for help with your computer and what machine you should be running, that is, you can ask in the comments and somebody might respond, but I am not a computer ninja at all. That's not this guy. We also talk about monitors. We can talk about headphones. Anything that's directly used with amp sims is part of the amp sim universe here. And, it's always up discussion. So today, we're going over Line 6 plugins, and they're on sale 50% off right now. This is not a paid promotional stream in any way, shape, or form. I just like sales, and I like saving people money. And if you can go out and get Line 6 Helix Native right now for $200, you're getting like 1,000 components, over 1,000 components. I don't actually know how much it is. And it's $200. And you think about the price of your average suite. And now we're going to get into this now real quick. The price of your average suite from, say, your premium suite, your premium company's premium suite's $129.99, right? Around there somewhere. Anywhere from $99.99 to 100 and what is it? That one, was it the Petrucci? Petrucci? I always fuck up the name. I've always said it Petrucci, but I was told it was Petrucci. And either way, the guy from Dream Theater, his plugin was what, $149 or something? Now you think about the plugins like that, or Nambrini Audio, $129.99. These are the price, a good price for a premium suite. That is a good price for what you're getting in a premium suite, and some of the best coders and some of the best companies in the world that are working on this stuff. Very realistic. $129.99 is a great price for a premium suite, full price. It is. Now, think about what you're getting in there, though. Think about that for a second. You're getting what? 3 one-channel amps? Or you're getting one amp that's been broken down into like 3 different sections, 3 different channels, 1 amp, whatever. And you're getting what? 3 pedals? Maybe 2 cabinets? Somewhere in there, we getting warmer, getting close, an EQ, getting warmer, getting close. Okay. Now think about the components inside Line 6 Helix Native. All this stuff is modeled really, really, really well. It's all modeled really well. 6 Helix Native gives you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of amps and pedals and all sorts of shit, cabinets. Go and check it out. And for not just guitar, but bass as well. Serious bass gear. See, it will cover all of your guitar. If someone asked me tomorrow and said you can only use one plugin for the rest of your life, that's the way it is. There's no discussion. That is it right now. We're going to give you some money, and you can only use one plugin for bass and guitar for the rest of your days. It would be Helix Native in a heartbeat, because I know that this can handle fucking anything. Cleanest of the cleans, jazz, all the way up to extreme metal. Anything you can throw at it, it can do it. I guarantee it. So 100%, if you have $200 extra to spend, I would 100% go and look into Helix Native. Just looking at the amps here for a second, guys. Let's go here. Let's go to the amps. Amps. I'm going to go to this view, and we're going to go to this. This is just the amp section right here below. You can see, and here's all the amps you have access to. And it just, you keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And that's for guitar. Then you go to bass, and you're scrolling all the way through. You've got like lots of really great stuff in here. So yeah, this would be my one ring to rule them all. Is it better at everything than every other plugin? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying for versatility and overall quality in the entire component count, this plugin is absolutely worth. This could be, if you're looking at it, this could be worth this is a $2,000 plugin, not a $400 plugin. If you're looking at the amount of gear in here and how well it's been modeled versus the rest of the industry in the market, this plugin has a shit ton of value. Lots and lots and lots of value. So get out there, check out Helix Native. I'm not going to use it today. We're going over the Metallurgy series mostly today. But don't buy any of the Metallurgy plugins if you intend to buy Line 6 Helix Native, because it's all in there. Everything from all of the Metallurgy series, every single one of those components is inside Line 6 Helix Native. No problem. Okay? So that is just me to you. Do I use it a lot? Yeah, absolutely. When I sit down to just kind of learn something and just jam around, most of the time when I'm trying, like learning covers and having just wanted like a tons of different tone, and when I'm writing, I use Helix Native quite a bit. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna move along to Line 6 Thrash. How often do I use this? Probably almost never, but it's pretty cool. And that sounds really good. And of course, the Mark Series amps are not just good for metal or thrash. They're good for rock. They're good for clean. They're used for country. They've been used for a ton of different stuff. Very, very, very versatile amps. But in this particular case, we have one that has been stripped down pretty severely. A lot of the little mini switches and a lot of little other things have been just sort of lopped off. And what that means is that not so much that the switch has been omitted. And it's sort of in my discussions with many different coders, programmers, I've actually asked them all, a lot of them, the same question. When you're doing an amp and you don't include a switch, what happens to that switch? And I've often asked that. What happens to that switch? Does it mean you took it right out of the amp, like right out of the schematic? Or does that mean that you put it in your position and lopped it off and didn't want to code, the other side of what the switch even does? That's okay. In this situation, it's exactly what Line 6 has done here with the Mark, is that they've done it with, they've just kind of lopped off several of the settings because it is what it is. And that whenever you see an amp that you're familiar with and you say, hey, where did that switch go? Well, that's what happened. Usually it's in the case of the developers decided, I like this the way it is. It's too much work, or it's just, I don't feel like modeling this, or whatever it is. It's not always a shortcut. Sometimes they just don't want to put it in there because it's just not used. It might be a switch that in reality, most players never touch. It's always in one position. So they just don't include it because most players don't touch it. So if you're ever curious, that is a situation that does happen quite a bit. I haven't even put the boost pedal on yet. Let's put on the boost. And let's be honest, the boost pedal is the difference between modern and traditional or old school thrash, is that they didn't use boost pedals back in those days, really. If there was a thing called the TC Electronics booster distortion that they used to use quite a bit. There's a couple of different TC pedals that were around, and then a little bit later on in the thrash thing came the Boss Yellow Overdrives and the Boss DS1. That kind of came along eventually. But 1984, most of the time players are looking to get it done with like amp mods and stuff like that. As far as most research I've done. But then in modern thrash, it's almost impossible that you see a modern thrash rig without a tube screamer. They're just there. Why? Because they actually make thrash sound pretty fucking good. Yeah, I can see the chat, but it's not, there's no one chatting. That's okay, man. People don't feel like chatting today, that's no big deal. But please do. I do encourage it because it may always make streams better when people bounce shit off. I don't care. You can call me out. If you debate with me if you'd like. I'm always up for the good debate. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm always up for that discussion as well. Just be respectful. Be constructive. Be constructive. Be respectful. And I'm always willing to talk to anybody in the chat. So please do. Feel free to say what's up. And if you guys ever have any plugin requests, we might start doing like all request Fridays or all request days. I occasionally will start to do freeware Fridays again. Once in a blue moon, but sometimes Fridays, man, I'm just burned out, dude. And who isn't? Who doesn't just want to melt in front of the TV and like play a video game after work on Friday, as opposed to jumping right back into something where you've got to be personable, But there are some Fridays where I'm like, yeah, we got to get into something and we got to get into it and we got to have some fun. Playing Fallout. What are you guys playing these days? I'm replaying Fallout 4, the remastered version, and I found an island. And the missus and I found a settlement on this island and that we didn't know existed. And I'm not sure if it was something that was added in the remaster, because there were a few things added in the remasters, but we're all like, holy shit, it's an island. And wow. And I've been obsessed with this. Both of us have been absolutely obsessed with this island and So that's also been taking up a little bit of time. I guess I could move this out of the way a little bit, and I could probably close my plug-in chain because I'm not switching too many things around right now, but so thrash. Okay, is that better? That's probably better. I play that riff a lot because it's really good. It's a clear sounding riff for when I want to listen to like something that really like that pops back and forth where there's a nice cut to the alternate picking. Out of tune. Dude, this Iceman is really doing me nicely. Guitar took a while to come around. It just for a while I actually thought I had to replace these tuners, but for whatever reason, these tuners now actually work really well. But every time anybody that was watching the old streams when I first got this guitar, you guys could probably attest to the fact that this thing never stayed in tune and I never used it. But now I just did some work on it. Scarlett, hey man, how are you? How's it going, Bo? I haven't had time to play games either, but I've been finding some time. Honestly, you have to find the time. I mean, we've all got a lot of stuff going on, but I mean, I work 8 to 4, Monday to Friday. I'm doing this stuff. I am doing some artist relations with a few different companies, just small things. And I'm also doing some product design with a few companies right now, some small things, and a couple of big things. We're gonna have a big announcement with a developer coming up kind of soon. We're gonna be working on a platformy type plugin with a couple of different developers, but very different platform type plugins that are gonna be a lot of fun. And on top of that, I've got disc golf stuff that I do as well. But then on top of that, I'm also trying to write some kids books based on some social stories that I use that very effectively with kids that I work with. For those of you that weren't aware, I work in education. So I've had a chance to sponge or bounce some of these stories off of some of the kids that I work with. And focus groups sort of have been good. Kind of thing. I just bounced some stories off of them the other day and it was pretty cool. So yeah, a lot of things going on, but what is that going? I still gotta find time to lose myself in a video game. You gotta. And if you're out there and you're like, man, I've never really lost myself in an RPG, like, you know, like a Skyrim or an open world game of some sort, man, you gotta do it sometimes. It's just so fun. That's just my opinion, though. Some people might not agree. All right, let's keep going. Yeah. That actually might be sweet for Doom. We'll move on to the Friedman. Let's see where we're going with this. I haven't used this a whole lot. This is not one I'm super familiar with. I'm going to be straight with you on that one. But with not having a lot of really great or really no good Friedman HBE, really any good Friedman plugins out there right now. I mean, the Dirty Shirley and the two of the ones that Brainworks did were pretty good, but the HB was horrible, and it was one of the only bad plugin they have. It doesn't sound anything like the amp. It's got a blanket. It sounds like it's got a blanket over it. It sounds very, very dark and dull, which is exactly the opposite of what that amp is. You can turn all the brightness controls on that plugin right up. Crank them all right up. Crank the treble up. Just turn it all on. And guess what's going to happen? It still sounds dark. That's just an absolute failure on that plugin. I don't like to talk about failure plugins, but that one, don't go buy it. It's not good. Even though it's licensed, again, we talk about exceptions. Does licensed mean it's good? No, absolutely not. Oftentimes these So it's coming with absolutely way higher expectations, because now it's different than it was before, because before were a lot different. The market was different. Everything was different. So if you had the ability to get someone to do a licensed plugin for you, you were just happy for that exposure. And like, in case in point, old Amplitube, none of those amps, those licensed messes and stuff sounded very good back then, although Amplitube has gotten much better when they completely overhauled their power amp modeling. Anyways, moving forward, if you can't do the amp with some level of accuracy, someone else is gonna. So that contract might last a year. If you don't do a good job, that contract might as well not exist anymore. Someone else is gonna be like, listen, we could do this way better for you, and you might want to move along. And these days, it's so competitive with so many of these developers constantly looking for the best and the hottest and the hypest and the most current amps that are you know, and companies that are shaking the world, like Driftwood and everything else these days. Whatever the hot amps are, the companies are all going to be falling over each other now. It's not just one company reaching for you now. There's probably going to be up to 10 companies reaching for you. So it's going to be really interesting. Let's see what happens this year. I know for a fact there is one German amp, a licensed German amp company that could be so many, that is relocating their licensing, which is pretty cool. You guys will be, again, I can't wait. Cannot wait to see what happens. Now we're getting somewhere. This is great. So this is the pillars, aka the plumes, and the Friedman. This is too loud. This is great though. I do like Ramahoy. If you don't like Ramahoy, if you haven't checked them out, please do. They're fun. For me, yo ho. Yeah, so this is great, and this isn't going to be just good for thrash. This is going to be great for just about anything. Now, if you look at the gear in this plugin, and you picture someone maybe instead using it for like your average American hard rock or even hardcore, that could work. But say you're in a rock band, whether it be like a hard rock band or rock band in general, look at the gear they've included here for you. That's why calling it thrash, that's not entirely all it can do. Look at the amps they've included here. They've included a really good sounding Roland for your cleans. They've got a Mesa Mark Series amp for your dirties and not only that, but they've got the rhythm channel here. So you're not just going to be crushing your... If you want to get more like a Foo Fighters thing going... Get it? Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Not bad at all. There's a lot of stuff they've got going on here that I think is just terrific. I really, really like this plugin, and I think, again, going for a rock guitarist, this is a great amp for rock. And then if you want to A/B, boom, Friedman. Again, this is not necessarily a metal amp. This is a rock amp, all things considered. The HBE is meant to be like kind of an EVH tone in a box, is it not, Bo? So essentially this amp could be terrific going left, go left, right, AB, or you could go left, right, AB with your Cali and your your diesel, and then use the Friedman for leads, since the Friedman leads are terrific. Go to post effects. Yeah, they got you covered here with a nice vintage delay. Let's see if we can get like a nice lead in here. Go into here. We're gonna back off some of this. A little bit more of that. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna slow that down just a tiny bit. I want to link that. We're gonna go. Nope. Nope. Really, it's very rigid. You're gonna rigid. That's a bit too quick. And the other ones, let's go with classic instead. The other one's too quick and one's not quick enough. So if you're looking to do something with this amp, you could definitely just record an entire rock album with this amp. Your rhythm tones could be the Mesa and the Diesel, and then use the Friedman for your lead tones, and then your cleans are covered with your Roland. Pow, hard rock album, no problem. You see where I'm going with this? So this has a lot more flexibility than just the name has. So I would say the same for the Doom, that as well. That also has a lot more flexibility than just Doom. Sure, it does Doom really well. It's got a lot of fuzz loaded up in the front, but it could probably be used for a few more things. This one here, though, I think is probably going to be the most versatile of the Metallurgy series. So if you're looking to just grab one of these for just for shit's sakes, and you want to have it useful for all sorts of different things, this one will probably be my choice for the best of the three. However, if you want to get some Doom going, hey, crush it with that Doom plugin. The modern one, it does modern tones so well. Like if you modern metal, gent, your whole, Ola Englund type tones, modern thrash, the type of stuff he's doing as well, and he's always been known for. That's a really, really good ticket straight to that ballpark. That's exactly where you're going to want to park your car. If modern metal, it's terrific. It does gent really, really well. I'd be able to show that off. I'm looking to get an 8-string. I said I wasn't going to buy another one, but I think I'm going to buy one or a baritone. We'll see. I've never really wanted a baritone, but we'll see. I'm looking for one of the two. I'd like to get an RG8 just for the channel, soup it all up, and that way I could do some demos with like something lower tuned for fun once in a blue moon. It's not a big deal though, so we'll see. If I can find an RG8 to modify the living hell out of, I would love to do that. So we'll see if that happens though. Nice. Nice. The Quad Cortex is not necessarily... I've never tried it. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a great Friday. I'm excited. I'm having a great Friday night. Friday after work. I had a really chillaxed afternoon. I had like some workshops in this morning. And then I just came home and hung out with the... look at this nap crew. Can you guys see this nap crew behind me here? Look at these lazy bastards. Look at this lazy bunch of fuzz back here. Everyone can see you. Cats just... There's literally a pile of cat on that blanket. That was all intended. Because as soon as I put that blanket out, I know in the fall or the winter, I know cats are coming from all over this house to sleep on it. And that's exactly what happened. A little bit of ground here for you guys. Let's check out the clean real quick. I don't really dig that I can't do enough with that delay. All right. Sounds nice. So yeah, guys, obviously there's a lot of value in this plugin. It's there. There's a lot of value here. Check it out if you guys have a little bit extra. What's it on for, Eddie? Can you head over there? Can you head over to that? I swear there used to be an angle in this plugin. I believe that's an angle cab though. Eddie, can you head over to line 6 and see how much the Metallurgy series is right now, or somebody? I'm very curious. Lori Myers. Fantastic. If you guys are fans, or whether you're not fans of NoFX, they just did their final show ever. And the whole thing, it's like hours long. And the whole thing's on YouTube. And it's a shit show. Pretty emotional. You see a lot of people on stage are very like sad, but you know, happy at the same time. And that's a band that's been a part of my life since I was 14 years old. And I watched it. And I have to admit to you guys, I watched it with a heavy heart. I've seen NoFX live so many times, and each and every time I saw them live, they blew my mind. One of my favorite bands that has ever existed. Man, it was a little heavy right there. I was watching, I was like, shit, I'm never gonna get a chance to see this band again. Yikes. And like the drummer says, he's like, nah, I'm never going on the road again. Never. And not ever. Sad. Sad, guys. What makes you guys wonder? We see what's happening. You know, we see the bands from like the, you know, the even as far as back as the 50s and 60s, and these are old people. They're very old people now, and they're still touring. But you know, you see like, you know, Charlie Watts, rest in peace. Before he passed, he was still playing drums until it was like 80, 90 years old or 80 something years old. But what was he doing at the time? It was just simply like, he was really, really easy going, like rock stuff. Like it was very, very, very chill. What are the bands like we're seeing right now? We're seeing Metallica playing in their 60s. Lars Ulrich, you want to talk shit on Lars Ulrich? Go ahead. Absolutely. Talk whatever shit you want. Okay, I can give a rat's ass. It's trendy to hate Lars. Go whatever. Do it. Do your thing. If that makes you feel better. But the fact of the matter is that guy is in his 60s and he's still playing 3-hour sets with some songs as fast as like 220. And for a 60-something-year-old man to play, I wonder what these kids, you know, it's the certain generations that are making fun of Lars Ulrich and whatever. What are these bands like Lorna Shore and these, you know, bands like Lorna Shore? What are these bands are getting? How honestly, how long do you think those bands are going to be able to play that material? How long do you think? Do you think those bands are even going to be able to play that material into their 40s? I don't know. You know, you look at Austin Archie playing the drums, and it's just like I don't know, man. I don't know if these guys are going to be able to blast, do, you know, double kicks at 260 and 280. You know, is Archspire, you know, unless they continuously get new drummers, which means you could probably pull it off and do the Megadeth thing. That's both the only way I could see that really being pulled off. I cannot see the drummers from our current era of metal playing so fucking fast. I can't see them doing this into their 40s and 50s. I just can't. I can't see it. Then again, Mike Mangini is in his 50s, is he not? And he was doing it just fine. And that dude can blast like a motherfucker. So, what are you gonna say? It's really even on sale. Okay, wow, $74.99 for that whole collection. Hang on, you got to think about it then. So it gives you, that's a lot. That's a lot in the collection. You get a lot in those three plugins. You can go for that. I would say $37 and $37.49. You could get Thrash right now. Again, this is not a promotional stream whatsoever. I swear on my mother's eyes, which I would never swear on. This is not a promotional stream. And they gave us this plugin like 3 years ago. Not a promotional, not paid whatsoever. This is just a company that gave us an NFR. We reviewed it back in the day, and it's still hanging around. I keep it installed because it's fun. It's fun to have around. This whole series is a fun series of plugins. Go check it out. But if you have the $200 to drop on Helix Native, I would strongly suggest that you do it, or wait and see if they do more than a 50% discount. That's a possibility. But again, man, that plugin is just so worth every single dime. Oh man, it's worth it. All right, and I didn't even really have the proper cab setup going here for that. But that's about it, guys. Gonna go over the Herbert here, and then we're probably gonna get going. Up here likes to be scooped out a little bit. He likes to be scoopy. It's a very simplified Herbert. I don't know if this is the best Herbert that I've heard. But again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's the best Herbert I've heard, but it's not the worst either. But again, if you're using this for, say, you want to use this for rock, as mentioned, as like, say you use the Cali on the left and then you use the Das Benzin. Can I just say Das Benzin? No, I'm not going to say that. You're going to say it in like a German accent. You got to say it angry and loud. That's the way. Is that the way they like it? I don't know. Philippe's gone. Never mind. This actually sounds pretty good. Yeah. All right. That's actually sounds a bit better than I thought. Shoot. All right, guys, we're going to be getting out of here in about 4 minutes. It's been so fun to hang out with you guys for a couple hours and go over some plugins that maybe are a little off the beaten path. And I think more people need to give a little more credit to Line 6 for being a little better than they actually than they're giving them credit for. Because I saw some comments that, like, I've seen it's like, you know, like my favorite developer X. I don't want to pick a name in this case, but you know, top developer insert here. This developer smokes Line 6 and this smokes Helix Native, and all because they're basing it all on the Helix floor units, and those in themselves are pretty damn good for what they are. But on the other side of it, these plugins, I mean, they impress. They impress. Don't put the plugins in with the trendiness of like, I would rather buy the quad Cortex is cooler, and the one guy's like, oh, the Line 6 Helix Native, aka I can't afford any of the good stuff. Like, you know, people say stupid shit like that, and then they think that the plugins are inferior somehow to these other companies as well, and that's just not the case. The Line 6 plugins are terrific. If you care to go over to their website and check it out, they do have sales. They don't have a lot of sales though, not tons that I've ever really seen, but they do definitely always have sales around the holidays. And so check it out, get over there and see what's up. They do have some free trials, so at least try the free trials, see what's up, and see if you guys can dig it. There's always a nice selection of cabs. There's pretty simplistic post effects. There's always some fun pedals, although the wah, I'm not really sure was entirely... I don't really know that the wah was entirely necessary, because I don't have a MIDI foot controller or anything, but I think maybe that could have been something else. Maybe one of those TC units, but that we could just nitpick at that point. I still think this one is one of the more versatile of the three, so check it out if you have a moment. That's my challenge for you guys at the end of this one. Get over there, check out some of the stuff that Line 6 has to offer, do the free trials that you can get, and the updates, man. The updates for Helix Native are pretty cool, right? Yes, that's one thing about Line 6 is they've been, if they're really smart though, guys, I am actually going to send, I'm going to copy and send the guys at Line 6 a copy on this, so that maybe they've actually asked me before for stuff so they can throw it on their social. I don't know that I want to go to that kind of a platform, but just simple stream here. So I might send them this. And gosh, if they were going to do one thing though with Line 6 Helix Native, and I would just say, please, just fucking nuke Pod Farm already. Can you please just nuke Pod Farm already and just put it in with Line 6 Helix Native? Just take that, throw Pod Farm in. Not Amp Farm. There are still people that use Amp Farm, and it's still kind of expensive. And it is a very, 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 very simplistic amp sim, like really simplistic. One of the very first that ever came around, but yet apparently there's still a huge amount of people that still want to use it. Crazy. I had this discussion with the people at Line 6 way back. I was like, why do this? I'm just curious. And then the guy gave me like this big long thing about like how some producers just swear by it. And I'm like, why? There's so much better out there right now. I don't understand. But nonetheless, it exists. But take Pod Farm and put it inside. We want some Line 6 Insane. I want Line 6 Insane. I really do. I would love to have Line 6 Insane. Please give me an amp and just even just that. Take the Line 6 Insane from the pod and throw it and make it an amp like you do Line 6 Doom. Please. Please. We need this. Yes, at the end of the day, it's all tools in the toolbox. And I think one thing that I always suggest Line 6 Helix Native for is that no matter what your no matter what your specialty might be, whether your specialty is country, okay, there's lots in there for you. And that's fine. You might go out and buy a lot of different plugins for country or extreme metal or death metal or thrash, whatever. You might go out and buy, you might have a very specific set of needs for your plugins. So what I would suggest is that for when you want to dabble in other styles or go and try to see what makes those other tones tick and see if you can pull off those tones, or maybe go and learn these covers in other genres that you don't necessarily always play in, but you do sometimes. Line 6 Helix Native will fill in every gap that you don't have already. There's going to be something in there like, I want to sound like Jimi Hendrix. They got you. You want to sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan. They got you within reason. That's a very complex rig. You want to sound like John Mayer? Go right ahead. Want to sound like Corpse? They got you covered. Want to sound like Rammstein? They got you covered. You want to sound like Hatebreed or EVH or fucking anybody? They have you covered in there. You're gonna be able to find something very, very, very close inside the box there, folks. So Line 6 Helix Native, I will say it once again, not a paid stream. It's just a plugin that myself and everyone here, we have all discussed it, and how many different, like how the bang for the buck factor in there, how it's just so high. There's almost no beating it, really. If you want to really, it is going to, also you're going to have so much gear that it's going to make you really question your future plugin purchases as well. Do I need this? I've got Helix Native. Do I really need that? I've got Helix Native. Oh, it's got a really good clean this, but I've got Helix Native, so I don't really need that. You know, you're going to say that quite a bit. And so don't take my word for it, though. Go try it. Tell me what you think later in the stream. If you come back and say, man, that thing was a brick, I didn't like it at all, I'd be like, okay, we disagree, and that's perfectly okay. But so you might come back and say, man, this plugin has changed. Now I want to go make a ska album. You won't, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to go and watch this I'm going to get ready for the clown show. I'm going to, I'm going to turn on YouTube, get ready for this Jake Paul clown show, and just really hope that the clown gets knocked out this time. That's all I can hope, is that clown, he's just, it's just so silly. Rigged boxing is stupid. It's just WWE. All it is WWE style boxing. And there's a place for it, but don't tell me it's real, and don't let people bet on it. How is there a betting line? How's there a betting line for a scripted fight? How's this possible? It's so stupid. Anyway, have yourself a great evening. A lot of love for this whole community and the team here. Thanks for being in the stream, guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I will be here again another time. Likely sometime this weekend. Don't know when, but we'll hopefully see you guys Saturday or Sunday. Cheers, and thanks so much for being here.
подходи! Єдиный народ смелее для вас заводит